The views and opinions expressed in this show do not represent those of Cal State Fullerton, the College of Health and Human Development, or the Kinesiology program.
Ready, aim, fire.
Welcome to Kinesiology 101, the podcast for kinesiology majors by kinesiology majors. Every week we bring you a new and exciting guest with tons of knowledge and experience both in and outside of the classroom here at Cal State Fullerton. Cool. Alright, so we're back here at Kinesiology 101, podcast for kinesiology majors.
By kinesiology majors.
I'm your host, Jose, and today I'm with
your other host, Luis.
Luis, and today we have the privilege of having a good friend of mine, a recent alumni of the kinesiology program, Albert Torres. Albert is, like I said, an undergrad, or at least he graduated from the program, but now he's a student admitted into the athletic training program at Azusa Pacific. He's also a coach for the Diamond Bar soccer men's varsity team. Yes?
Diamond Ranch.
Diamond Ranch.
You got the first half right.
Diamond Bar, Diamond Ranch. Cool. Well, let's just have you talk a little bit more about yourself, man.
Yeah. So I'm someone who's trying to pursue athletic training in hopes to get into more rehabilitation science around the area. So I want to do more along research. That's been my end goal, and I think that's been an influence since I've been here. I think we just had too many professors that researched too much, and I think that just got into my head. So I thought that was a big bonus coming out of here at Cal State Fullerton. But the way it began, I mean, I just got into sports. I mean, I started off wanting to be a veterinarian. Loved animals. I mean, I always carried around my books with drew animals when I was younger, and that led on to my life. You know, I just kept trying to be a veterinarian, and that's just been stuck in my head. But I always did sports. I played soccer, I played basketball, I did track, I did cross country, but soccer is more my specialization. And I played goalkeeper for a while. I think I had a pretty good successful high school career when I played soccer.
Mm-hmm. Where did you play?
When?
Where?
Well, shoot, that's quite a story. I started off here. I mean, I learned to play soccer through my grandpa. My dad wasn't around when I was younger. He was in the military, so my family stayed here while my dad traveled around the military life. So my grandpa took me to my first Galaxy game when they first came up in '96. Nice. So I was in the beginning. I liked the sport. Started getting involved into soccer. So then after a while, being here, I lived in Pomona. My dad came back, and he said, let's move out, let's be a family together. So me and my mom, we got the family together. We ended up moving actually to Hawaii, my 7th grade, so middle school. Played a little bit of soccer there. High school came, my first 2 years there, I played a little whole high school. And then we ended up moving to Georgia because my dad got stationed out there. And I played in Georgia as well. And then my dad finally said he called it quits. It was just military life was just too much for his back. He had to leave. He had to call it quits. So we ended up moving back here to Baldwin Park, and I actually graduated from high school from Baldwin Park High School. Mm-hmm. Took a year off, went to Cal Poly Pomona. Actually, just didn't even play there. I just went to be a veterinarian. And that didn't work out at all. It's too much science, too much biological stuff. At Cal Poly, we found out that we had to go into to more agriculture stuff too. Mm-hmm. So you actually had to deal with like the butchering of the animals, stuff like that. So I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to see pigs getting killed or anything. I'm not vegetarian or anything like that.
Oh, really? It's kind of ironic to say that, dude, because I brought this here with me. It's a pamphlet. It's a pamphlet that they give out here on campus. Like, if you like meat, you can help end this cruelty.
Yeah, I like.
It has nothing to do with the episode, but I always carry around with me just so I could give it to people. But yeah, continue. Yeah, you're
yeah. So it was just too much science. And coming out of Cal Poly, my first quarter there, I was already on probation. You need to have like a 2.3 to be on good standings as a pre-veterinarian major.
Oh, really?
And I was at I think 1.9.
So you were at Cal Poly first, and then you transferred to Fullerton?
No, my journey still continues. I kept moving around. So, so out of Cal Poly, I was like, all right, this isn't gonna work out. I don't want to be a veterinarian. I just crapped out my opportunities of being a veterinarian with a 1.9 my first quarter, and I had no passion for being a veterinarian anymore. So I was like, all right, so what do I do now? So I just stuck around at Cal Poly, taking some BS classes. It was just too impact there. I was taking classes like career exploration. At that point I already knew what I wanted to do, and I was just BSing myself through the whole quarter so I can get an A. Mm-hmm. So I ended up going to Citrus College so I can get my GEs done. And actually there I actually tried out to play for their team, and I actually made it.
Soccer team?
Yeah. So I played collegiate soccer at Citrus, which it was a huge blessing for me because it was a life changer there, because I gained my freshman 15 at Cal Poly. I'm eating Carl's Jr., eating Panda Express every single day. Yeah. I left high school at 190 pounds, and then coming out of Cal Poly at 220. Oh, so it was more of a freshman 30 for me.
So still me.
Yeah, so I was there, busting my butt off. I had to work my butt off. You just see this chunky guy running around, busting his butt off in summer training to make sure that he makes the team. You know, I think for me, my motivation going into soccer was my grandfather. At that point, I didn't really have a relationship with him because he passed away, so he didn't really get to see me play college soccer. So I used that as my motivation to get myself there. So every single day I busted my butt off. I was the last one coming from like these long runs, stuff like that. But you know, to me, I think the coach, what he admired most, and especially the players there who were trying out, is that, you know, I kept working, man. I kept working. I kept being the last guy. I was there after practice, strength training, stuff like that. And so, I mean, I was second string. The first string keeper, he was just freaking amazing, man. He now plays professional indoor, Manabu Kaji. Nice. He plays professional indoor soccer in Las Vegas. He actually played for the Ontario Fury, and he got traded out to Vegas. But I mean, that's the type of player I was going up against when I was playing at Citrus. After my first year there, I ended up losing weight, and this is the reason why it was a life changer there, is because I was down at 175 by the end of the first year of Citrus. So what's that like? That's too much weight right there. Too much to count.
220 to 175.
Yeah. So second year came. I actually ended up starting, and that's when I met Trey. Trey, he just got signed for the LA Galaxy right now. And actually, so I ended up starting there. I ended up getting hurt, which is why you see a scar on my forehead. Alex says it's my Harry Potter scar. So every once in a while it hurts, it burns, so I kind of have to rub it.
How did that happen?
During a game against Riverside, I came out on a slide tackle. It was a 1-on-1. I came out. It was a 50-50 ball. Yeah. Got the ball. The guy jumped over me. He was wearing some Vapors. For those who don't know what a Vapor is, it's a cleat designed for speed and agility for really skinny, fast people, and they have very sharp blades. So you have the round blades, you have the I guess the oval blades, and then you got the very sharp blades.
Mm-hmm. I thought those were illegal in college. No.
Nah.
College ball. I thought it was only they only let you play with this if you're professional. No.
No. They treat college now as if it was professional. Yeah. But yeah, he was wearing some Vapors. He sliced me pretty good. I ended up bleeding all over the field, all over my forehead. So. Ended up getting concussion, ended up screwing my forehead. That put me out for a while. Had to get stitches. I was delirious for a while. I mean, that's why, as an athlete, you just don't care about it. You just want to play, especially after working your butt off the first year. You want to maintain that starting position, and so the rest of the season I just kept alternating with Trey, 1-on-1. He played one game, I played one game, and that's how my college game ended up. My college career ended up playing, stopping. It was like I kind of lost passion in playing anymore, just because the way my second year ended up being played out. Yeah. After that was done, I was like, all right, I want to be an athletic trainer. You know. So
is that why you got into athletic training, because of the whole like your previous athlete, and you saw like the kind of work they did?
That was a trigger. That was a triggering event. I mean, I working with the athletic trainers, I dealt with a lot of sprained ankles. I had a really poor ankle strength, and then dealing with the pain in the head. I mean, working with the Citrus College athletic trainers there as an athlete, I kind of grew an appreciation for what they did.
Yeah.
They took care of you. They made sure that you were in your right mind, even though when you weren't. I know if it was just me, if you're doing the old style Mexican, just rub some Vicks on you and go play.
Salvador.
Go to Salvador, yeah. I probably would have just probably made some bad decisions. But actually, no. What actually triggered my first interest in athletic training, take it back to high school, when I actually got here, I actually got nominated by my high school counselor to do a program called the National Youth Leadership Forum in Medicine at UCLA.
Uh-huh.
So it's a very expensive program, but you got to get nominated by counselors based on your grade, and then I guess who you are, make sure that you're a good student, a good kid. It was a week and a half long program. Did all these seminars. We got to visit all these clinics around here. We got to talk to doctors. We got to listen to a lot of talks and do some problem solving. Just put yourself in a doctor's perspective. That way, as a high school student, you kind of get a feel what it's like to be a doctor and do these things as a doctor, even though you're a student.
Yeah.
And I actually went to a talk. Sports medicine. I like sports. Why not? I'd rather not. So I went to their talk, and the one that was giving the talks, the athletic trainer from UCLA. I don't know her name, but this was back in like 2006.
Okay.
Summer 2006. But she, I liked everything that she talked about. I was like, oh, cool. It's like, I want to be in the medical field. You can be in sport. All right, it's pretty legit. All right, so I'll keep this as a plan B because I want to be a veterinarian. So, after the whole veterinarian thing didn't work out, and being an athlete, I think I fell in love with sports way too much, and I wanted to stay in the healthcare field, and so I ended up so I decided to be an athletic trainer from there. So I ended up going to Cal State Northridge to become an athletic trainer. That got way too expensive. I applied here at Cal State Fullerton, but I think at that time when I was applying, the kinesiology department or Cal State Fullerton, I don't know which one it was, but they were requiring a 3.5 GPA.
I think it was a kinesiology. I think even now they still do. I think if anything, it increased.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Huh?
What year?
This was, I want to say 2010.
Yeah, if you're transferring from a different school, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
better
think
off just starting here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you had to have. I think you wanted to transfer here. If you were an OC resident, you can get away with a 2.0. But if you were outside Orange County, you had to maintain a 3.5.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I came here as a freshman.
So, but yeah, I ended up going to Cal State Northridge because they accepted me. I had a 2.4, 2.5 around there. They got too expensive there, so I went for their first semester. The end of 2010. I was like, man, all right, I don't know if I'm gonna continue going to school. It's way too expensive. And actually, I have a friend here who was in communications. He was a communication major. She texted me. She's like, I just had a friend who just transferred from Mount Sac to Cal State Fullerton with a GPA of 2.0. It's like, what do you have? I was like, well, I have a 2.4. Like, why don't you apply and see how it goes? So, and this actually, I know Cal State Fullerton didn't allow spring registration at that for some reason. It just did, and I thought that was freaking awesome. It was a miracle. So I applied, got in, and spring 2011 I started here, and ever since then I took classes here and graduated here in 2014.
So you were aware of the program here, the athletic training program. Was that kind of like your goal?
Yeah.
To come here and get accepted into the program.
Yeah.
But you also heard of the kines and all other good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a good student as an undergrad. At all. So
yeah.
I mean, I still had that athlete mentality, like, C average, that's good enough for me. So so getting into the program here didn't work out, so I ended up staying as a kines major, but ended up taking all the athletic training classes and all the strength conditioning classes, so I can have have a focus and have a concentration for the future.
And that's where we met in 351 principles of strength conditioning. Fun class. And then I had you again for a 450 program design.
Yeah, we had some good times.
Yeah, I'm just like, when are you gonna graduate, dude?
Yeah, it took me 7 years to finish my undergrad, but honestly, it's probably one of the best decisions I've made. I mean, I think if I rushed graduation too early, I probably would have been sitting on my butt just doing nothing, pretending like I was doing something.
Yeah, but unlike a lot of kines majors, you got the opportunity, because you were here for a while, to take different tracks or be part of different tracks, whether it was classes for athletic training or strength conditioning or just the other electives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I started here, I wanted to go into athletic training. I mean, that was my main goal. I wanted to become an athletic trainer, so I was taking all the athletic training classes. I took intro athletic training. I took modalities. I took first aid, all these other classes that the ATEP students require here, except for like the practicum classes, or another clinical classes. So I ended up doing all the athletic training classes. Still kept having a stupid mentality. C average. And I talked to Dr. Curtis. He's like, yeah, your GPA, there's no way you can get in. So I was like, all right, so let's just have a plan B. So that's when I decided to do strength conditioning. So I basically took every single class that you could take here as a Kine student. I took all the athletic training classes. I took all the strength conditioning classes. I took classes that I didn't even need for my focus area, like legal issues in kinesiology.
Like yoga, aikido, you took all those classes too.
Yeah, I needed those to graduate.
Running, jogging.
Yeah, so I took all these classes, and some were just for fun.
Yeah.
I felt like, all right, I might need it. I don't want to get sued later in the future, so I took legal issues. Which is a good class. I took with Statler. She's very passionate about it. So I ended up taking all these classes. I took strength conditioning as a plan B, now a plan C. I wanted some kind of something to rely on when I left here. But when talking to Dr. Hersey, he told me I had no chance to get into the program because they require 2.5, but they look at people who have like a 3.5 or higher, and that's just why the athletic training program here is just
so competitive.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the best athletic training programs in the nation, in my opinion. I mean, you got Dr. Hersey, who's a Hall of Famer. You got Dr. Sang, for example, who's just freaking awesome. The things he does, and then you got the biomechanics department, like Dr. Lin, Dr. No fall. There we go.
Yeah.
So they're all legit, and then
you're just here for so long, man. I mean,
I think I just love being a student too much.
Towards the end, I'm already thinking, hey, you know what? You're just gonna go in strength conditioning and coaching, right? Because I think you were preparing for the CSUs too.
Yeah.
Is that something you were trying to do?
Yeah. I was actually that's the reason I took strength conditioning, because I want to become a CSCS. So I did all the courses. I actually kicked butt. Which led me to my talk with Dr. Kersey. I mean, he told me, you can't get in, but the best recommendation he gave me was to stay here for another year to make sure that I increase my GPA and take all the classes that I possibly need, to make sure that GPA stays high. So I was ready to graduate in 2013, and I ended up going to. And I actually decided to stay a little longer. So I'll just postpone my graduation.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean,
one more year.
So I actually kicked butt my final year. I mean, I averaged a 3.5 GPA my final year of college.
Made the dean's list. Nice.
I gotta do something with my life. I can't be average. So that was the best recommendation Dr. Hersey has ever given me, and so I ended up staying here and graduated. That's where I took all these strength conditioning classes. So I can prepare for my CSCS, and ever since then I've just been here trying to do my prereqs on so I can go into the grad program. And so I think I did a pretty good job as far as impressing Dr. Kersey and impressing Dr. Sang when I was taking their classes. Well, because at that final year I was taking modalities lower extremity side Dr. Sang. I worked a lot with him, making sure that I was getting the material in, making sure that I was developing a relationship with him. And,
right.
And I think I impressed him enough that he gave me a letter of record, a good word to APU, and he guided me to make sure that I made the proper steps to get into APU, and this is where I am. I'm ready to get into APU starting in July.
Awesome.
Yeah, so having those advisors, those professors you just mentioned, that was pretty important, right? Especially since you got so many classes going on, so many areas of interest. But just having the faculty here who are very knowledgeable and then kind of start pinpointing you in one direction or one school, telling you, hey, we got your back if you want to apply to this school.
Yeah, and and one of the things that I think a lot of Kine students here take for granted is that you're in a program where it's considered one of the best ones in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Cal Poly promoter. I've as a pre-vet and then just transferred to their Kines program. I've been the Kines program at Northridge, and honestly, I think Cal State Fullerton is just one of the best kinesiology programs that I've been to. And I talk to people from different universities who are also in their Kines program, and they're impressed on how much I know and all the stuff that we do, and all the stuff that we research, stuff like that, and the way we approach education. And I think kinesiology in Fullerton is just superior than
Yeah.
everyone else.
They have their own kinesiology podcast show too.
Yeah, have you heard about that?
Yeah. it's those two guys. I don't know. I forgot their names, but
Yeah, it's all right.
they're pretty good hosts, I guess.
Yeah. So let's kind of deviate away from the academics and talk about soccer and coaching. So, Diamond Ranch High School, is that where you're coaching now?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of talk about that because I mean, I feel like you said before, I follow you like on Facebook and I see how well you're going about with the coaching and how well your team's doing.
Yeah.
I just know that you guys are the Siena League champs, right? You guys won it this spring.
Yeah, first year won the Siena League as a head varsity coach there.
Yeah, it's your first year coaching, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so Diamond Ranch has always had a history of being a good soccer program. They've just been the type of school that chokes at CIF. Yeah. They don't go too far. Yeah. And I apologize for past coaches who has coached Diamond Ranch, but I was there for about 3 years, starting in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
As a JV coach there, I coached them. Had some successful stints, some had a failing season, but I think the reason I think for my success there is because I took what I learned from here. And I took all the weaknesses that the program had, and I did some major changes over the summer. I honestly, when I was coaching that, I didn't even know Diamond Ranch had a weight room. And when I found that out, that was the first thing on my list. It's like, we're gonna weight train.
I think that's something that a lot of high schools lack. At least when I went to high school, only the football team went to a weight room. Soccer. The tennis, track. No,
the closest thing was probably like baseball, right? Like, all right, let's do some squatting or some bench pressing. Yeah. But it's primarily the football team who hogs the weight room.
Exactly. Even at college, when I played college ball, we never touched the weight room at all. It was all like technical stuff, footwork, ball work, conditioning,
sport specific.
Yeah, stuff like that. Never in the weight room, and I think that's something that a lot of programs lack in sports such as soccer. And all those sports. Yeah. Because I think most of the attention is given towards football because then you gotta be big and all that. But yeah, it's great. So what exactly did you do besides doing in the gym?
Yeah. So the thing I loved about Diamond Ranch is the support there is just tremendous. I mean, they'll give you what you need. If you talk to the parents, they'll make sure you'll get what you want. If you talk to the ADs, you talk to the principal. And you give them a good reason why you need things, they'll give it to you. Yeah. And I think that's when you have that much support, there is no reason why your program should be failing. But I think the previous coaches there, when I was a JV coach there, he wasn't using his resource in a productive way. Mm-hmm. So what I did is, I basically wrote out the needs that we need. And so what I did there, I got some new equipment. It was a struggle there when I first started because it was just me. And I think in history, I might be wrong, but the year that I started coaching varsity there, it was the highest amount of players we had trying out. I had 96 players trying out in 1 year for a varsity and JV team.
Yeah, and I think during that time too, even before that, you were posting and looking for assistants and someone to hire. Yeah,
for interns. Yeah, like we're looking for interns as well. So you wanna.
Yeah, so I had 96 players. The only thing that sucked about Diamond Ranch is, I'm gonna be getting heat for this, but the Pomona district. The Pomona district is super slow at producing things and making things happen. They didn't allow the hiring process for the JV coach and the assistant coach to happen until October. That's when I already started tryouts. And our first game was scheduled for the JV team. They had a tournament the third week of November. Yeah. It was like, and we had 96 kids. It's like, you expect me to cut these guys by myself, and make sure that we have the most competitive teams out there by mid-November. Like, that's just hard. Yeah. So, but I made it work. And I think the ADs they were super supportive. They gave me everything. They gave me all the equipment I needed. They gave me cones. They needed balls. They made sure that I had the practice time slotted for me, night, days. They made sure I had everything I needed to make sure the program is successful. And that's exactly something that I loved about there is they're willing to work with you. Yeah. They made sure that the kids were getting their crap straight. high school athletes are just the worst when it comes to like getting that administration stuff done. You gotta do their physical.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure they're getting the physicals in, their concussion paperwork,
grade checks.
Yeah, grade checks, all that stuff that you need as an athlete. And it's just the worst, man. And just dealing with 96 athletes, I was just glad that I had some kind of help. Eventually, ball started rolling. We started getting our coaches. I coached. The process took so long that I started coaching. The JV in the tournament. So I was coaching JV games and varsity games at the same time. So eventually we got the ball rolling. We got our staff there, and that's when things just exploded. I mean, we had a great season this season. Made sure they worked on their speed. I applied everything we learned here. Well, speed, agility, quickness, strength work. Some of these kids were just blown away. They thought, let's work on chest, let's work on biceps. It was like, no, man, let's work on something that you do. First of all, we started weight training a little too late. There's no more room for getting big anymore.
Hypertrophy is done.
Exactly.
Yeah, hypertrophy season is done. Conditioning season, we were working on that when I had all 96 of you guys, making you guys run like crazy. But we started working on strength, and for some reason, athletes just love lifting heavy. And I think it's just because it pumps them up, and they love it. They love all the stuff, how I program stuff for them, making sure that they got that in, and then they love all the tactical stuff they worked on, all the just creative stuff that we got into, such as like practices and stuff like that. I made sure that everything was in order for our season to come successful, and make sure that we're applying all the resources and all our ideas in the right areas. And I think that's something that the program needed is, they didn't work on strength conditioning.
Yeah, it's a big factor. So how exactly did you approach it? Did you have them like train? How many days a week did you have them in the weight room? Did it change as they got closer to season? Exactly.
Yeah, like did they buy into you too? Because they're coming from a totally different coach the year before, right? I mean, this is the returner.
I'm sure it was like a whole 360 change.
Who's this guy? College graduate student. Who's this guy?
Yeah, well, I mean, as a JV coach, they knew that I was a hothead. They knew if I wasn't getting stuff done a specific way, or it was taking for too long, then I'm gonna get on them. I was the typical yelling coach, But I did it with reason. I didn't go out there yelling stupid things or random things and just blabbering it off. But the good thing about Diamond Ranch, the community is a Mexican community, and so how Mexicans go, mijo, dale gana, vamos, and they start, they're all in, they're into that. They buy into that stuff. They're all about hard work. Yeah. So for me, my main goal when I started working with my varsity is you got to earn your spot. Nothing is given. And I think that's been my motto. My motto was, make sure that you don't leave fate in you make sure you control fate. You don't allow anything by chance. If you don't want to get beaten by chance, for example on a sprint, or you want to get beaten physically, you make sure you work your butt off in the weight room. Make sure you work your butt off on getting fast. If you want to make sure your passes are crisp and you don't give it to someone else, make sure you work on your passes. Don't leave it to fate. To decide your future. So I wanted to change the mentality. The mentality that was just crap. Honestly, it was like prima donna soccer players. They thought just because they were seniors and juniors and they've been there for a while, they thought they deserve a spot there as a starter. And man, did that change. I had sophomores, I had freshmen starting because their mentality was right. They were putting in the work and they were showing up, our seniors and juniors, and that was the biggest headache, is transitioning that mindset that you were given something rather than working hard. So I had to change them from going from point A to point B, and when that happened, that's when the season started rolling around. So that was a big struggle in preseason, making sure that these guys are getting their heads straight. League came, we just started kicking ass. Yeah. So we our league record came out to be 8-2, which we ended up being co-champs. Nice. Again with Chino, man, I definitely don't like those guys, but but I think when they started understanding that I was not going to give in, that I was going to give the time to the best players who worked hard and showed that they're getting the job done, then that's the way it's going to be run. So From there, strength training came along. That's where a lot of the guys, we went about two times a week because we started weight training in December. That's about halfway through preseason already. Yeah. 2 times a week, just working on strength and then sometimes speed, just so we can be prepared for league. I don't want to tire them out because, like I said, I wanted to make sure they maintain it during the season, make sure they're prepared for league. And then from there during league, we honestly didn't do weight room at all. We just did speed work, speed and agility. I think league, the way it was structured, there's no time for weight training. Every once in a while, I would have to host a practice every Saturday, just as pure weight room, just to get something in, so we maintain our strength, maintain our power, make sure we're not getting weaker. So that's the way I kind of program. The way our games were structured were Tuesday and Thursday, so I didn't want to cut practice in and cut off practice just for weight room. We needed those days between games to make sure we fill in the gaps, so we're not making the mistakes for games.
Yeah. And I'm aware too that you do a lot of programming too, whether it's for you or for your family. And then recently, I think you did a program or a macro for your dad's soccer team or your dad's football team.
So my dad is he's a lineman's coach and he's the strength coach or the strength coach for Gladstone High School, which is located in Covina, in Azusa or Covina or Azusa, I forget, but it's somewhere around there. So yeah, they asked me to develop a program design because the head football coach there at Gladstone, he's a Walnut guy, and they're in a league. So my dad, he talks about me at Gladstone, and then the head coach there follows the soccer season, and then he met me. He's like, man, it's like, you had a successful season. He's like, what did you do? It's like, for your first year of winning league is like an amazing thing to accomplish. Given
all those circumstances that you mentioned already, right?
Yeah, so I told him, I was like, honestly, I took what Diamond Ranch needed, and applied it. We need a weight room. I applied that in there. We need a new mentality. I applied that. We need new formations. I applied that. Whatever we needed, I made sure that team was that was applied into the team.
Right.
So so when he talked about weight room, I was like, we do weight room, but we're missing this, we're missing that. So I started, so I talked to him for a bit, and I told him, this is the way I would program for your team. I would do this during this time. I would do that during this time. So like, don't worry about, rushing this, that, things will come into place as long as you plan properly. And so I was like, all right. So I think the way my dad was talking and the way my dad was impressed the way I talk strength conditioning compared to the way his mentality is. He recommended that I do a strength program for their upcoming season. So that's how I came about writing a program, and then I developed one that tailored to their season. So let's see how they're gonna do. The rest is just
this coming season, which starts in the fall.
Yeah.
Nice. How fun was that program design class though, huh?
It was pretty sick. I liked it. Yeah. I got an A out of it, so that was my one of my highlights of my undergrad.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. I liked it.
So did you so you made a macro cycle for them, or was it a mesocycle, or what for them?
No, it was a macro cycle.
So it was a 52-week macro cycle?
Yeah.
So they're training right now. They're using your program right now.
Yep.
Okay. And did you do it exactly the way it was taught to us? You did the needs analysis, the need of the sport, the position of the players.
Yeah, I did.
So it was like a couple hundred pages when you turned it in? Or there were some things that you missed out, or that you kind of left behind?
It was around there because I included the exercises. I didn't want the coach to look at the program and like, what the hell?
This?
What's a rear foot elevated split squat? It's like,
I put some pictures in there.
Yeah, so I put some pictures, I put description, and so exactly as we did for program design for the class, I did exactly like for the program I did for Gladstone.
Yeah.
I felt that the way we structured it in class was really, really basic and simple and easy to follow.
Yeah.
And then it gives enough reason to why you're doing things to kind of help the coach buy into your philosophy and to why you're doing things.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the way I did it. I mean, there are some things I tweaked. I did some implement training too, so I made sure they were training with chains, make sure they were training with resistance bands and all that stuff. So So I put that into the program just to kind of keep things a little more fresh.
Yeah.
You know, make the players a little more excited. Like, oh, we're lifting and running, you know,
We have
constantly.
change
So,
now. We have, you know.
you know, so.
And do you have a program in line for the next soccer season, or?
Currently, actually, anything to do with Diamond Rush right now, I'm not even touching. I kind of want to just take time off just to focus on school right now. But I'll probably get back into it in summer. But you know, me being there, it's still within the cards. I don't know, because of the program at APU that I'm gonna get into.
Yeah.
It depends if I'm gonna have the time. So that's why for me, I'm not really bugging with it. But man, I think right now the hardest part of the season is developing a banquet. I'm not into the whole banquet planning stuff like that. So that's what I'm working on with Diamond Rush right now. But other than that, not touching anything else.
So you're not sure if you're gonna return as a head coach?
No.
Because
Yeah. So I mean, but I do got a good assistant coach who is really great. I play with him at Citrus as well. So hopefully he's going to take over if I don't continue. But I'm gonna. I just love coaching way too much. It's one of those things where you just don't want to let go because, for one, it helps being at a great high school. I mean, I love Diamond Ranch.
Is that where you went? Oh, you didn't go to school there. You
No.
went to what school did you go to?
He was all over the world, remember?
Well, I officially graduated from high school at Baldwin Park High School.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Diamond Ranch took my heart. Which by the way, I requested to play Baldwin Park High School last season, and we ended up beating my old coach.
Oh, really?
So it was a player coach moment, and
nice.
and the student beat the teacher.
So like a friendly game.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
See, I had a question about that too, because I'm assuming that you're one of the younger coaches, like in the conference, right, leading a varsity team, maybe, or at least you're one of the most educated one for sure. But how would it feel? Because you had such a pretty good record in the league. How would it feel though, like after the games when everyone's shaking hands and like the other coach who you just beat, all his years of experience coaching, it kind of just went down the line to first year, recent alumni who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like how did you kind of receive that, like that response from other people, other coaches?
It was a good feeling. I coming into the season, it's like when I went to the league meetings, I was like, man, it's like I'm gonna be one of the youngest guys there. Like I don't want them to take advantage of me. And that was my that was my first mindset, But at the same time, I was like, you know what you're doing. You have a pretty good team. You're gonna have a good team. So that kind of grew up some confidence in me. Make sure you go in there with the tough head. Make sure you don't get no punked around. I mean that's what these league meetings are for. Just make sure the coaches are they're flexing their muscles. And for me, I wasn't gonna take it.
Right.
And I made sure that all my talk and all my stuff, the way I show how my coaching abilities were was taken care of on the field. And so when the handshake came, I mean, it was a good feeling to get the win, especially when you're a young coach.
Yeah.
So for me, it felt great. It felt great. I got a lot of praise from coaches. But
you had some haters too.
Yeah, it was like it was one of those things where like they whisper to the side of your mouth. It's like, hey, good job. But then at the same time, they give you that bad dirty look.
Yeah.
But no, our league has some pretty good coaches, but they're good about stuff. They're not negative and just pound on you.
Yeah. What's the name of the league there?
Hacienda League.
Hacienda League.
Yeah.
Forgot what I was.
Yeah.
I played at Norwalk. Our league was suburban. Suburban?
I don't know. I wasn't in your league.
So CIF, the way CIF has been doing things, they've been switching too many teams too fast. We just did the whole league
renaming or
just league structures all over this past season. I mean, teams just moved a lot, just left and right. Yeah. They left league, some stayed. Mm-hmm. So some came in. Yeah. So there's just too much restructure going on. I think CIF does it every 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, because I was in the LA CIF, and I think you're like Southern section or something.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah, that's like
totally Southern section as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we got knocked out. When I played soccer in high school at Norwalk, we went undefeated our whole preseason. I think it was season. Except for the last game against La Mirada, which was my buddy played there, best friend. So it was like a really good game, and they beat us, man, 3-1. And so we were like, we won league, we were undefeated up until the last game. we went into CIF playing a wild card team. Oh no, yeah, wild card team. Wild card. I think it was Santa Monica. So they had to play a wild card to make it to CIF.
Yeah.
And that first game was with us. So we
right.
had a bye week because we were champs.
Yeah.
So we played against a wild card team in Santa Monica and they beat us. So we lost the first round. We're going undefeated the whole season, and then losing CIF first round. It was horrible. That was my senior year as well. So
Yeah.
Really
Losing playoffs it's heartbreaking. I mean, when I went to CIF this year, it was one of those things where I expected our team to actually go really deep into CIF. I had a team slotted in for past quarterfinals. I mean, that's how great our team was.
Yeah.
But man, when you have a game that you just have about 75% of the possession of the ball, you outshoot them by over 20 shots.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think I lost count after 20 men, 20 shots. They had about 5 on us. When you have that much stuff and you end up losing 2-1,
Oh, it's hard. That's the worst.
it's the worst feeling. It's
That's the beauty of soccer. You know, it's an art. That's what I like about it. It's not like you have the best players, you're gonna win. No, anything can happen, especially with playoffs. It doesn't matter if you're undefeated. I mean, playoffs is a whole different story. It's 0-0 at that point. You know,
Yeah.
Anybody could win. It's anybody's game.
Exactly.
This is great.
Yeah. So I ended up going home crying after that game. Yeah. It took me back to when I was a player when we lost CIF when I graduated high school, and it's a bitter feeling, man. It's like, man, I don't want to coach no more. It just sucks.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure some of your players, I mean, they saw how far they got, how well they improved, and the room for more growth. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of them are still hungry for more. Right?
Yeah. So we luckily for me is like a lot of the starters were juniors and sophomores, and so we're gonna have a really good and talented squad next season. So
are they, since they're in their off season right now, are you having them do more gym related training right now, or they're just not doing?
I mean, the rest right now, like I said, the only communication I'm having with them is just making sure that the seniors are going to college, making sure if they want any help as far as getting into a college team, I'll be there to guide them.
Yeah.
But as far as the rest of the guys, the rest are doing spring sports. So some are doing track, some are doing baseball. Okay. I have some athletes doing CrossFit.
At school?
No.
I was like, wait, what?
No, the CrossFit gym.
You have CrossFit at school now?
No.
That'd be nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that sounds like a whole bunch of injuries.
But they're all doing their own thing now. So I mean, as long as they're doing something active and they're doing something different from soccer. I'm all for it. And then when it comes back to me, I'll deal with it when I see them.
That's what we would do, at least in high school. When season was over for example, I only played soccer, so all the guys that wanted to stay with soccer and didn't play other sports, we just played like soccer, tennis, and we played basketball. It just got our minds completely away from the sport for like a month or so, and then we started training again after. So I think it's a good strategy, just getting away from the sport a little, getting your mind out of it, trying out different things.
Yeah.
Just getting back after.
Yeah, and I think after doing the same thing over and over every single day for 4 months, you just begin to get burnt out.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, I just play club if you want to. Just make sure you just still love the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming in next season, because that sets the tone for coming into the next season. Is how do you feel about it? If you feel positive, like, man, having played the sport, I took a break, but I started getting back into it, and I'm really excited for the season. You can come out with a successful season, but it's like, man, I've been playing this for the past 4 years, nothing but year-round soccer. Is like, man, I'm over this already. Yeah. So it's all mentality right there.
Yeah. So I know you're not coaching, at least you're not doing that anymore or lately, but you do a lot of volunteer work. And I know that you've been volunteering in like different events for athletic training, I think, or sports medicine in general. And then last week you were at the Arcadia Invitationals, right?
Yeah.
Which is for those people that don't know, Arcadia Invitational is like elite high school athletes going there to compete and breaking records, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, it still blows my mind how that records are still broken every single year. Just when you think like, man, that's freaking fast. You have another kid breaking over. Right. It's like, how the heck are you how are you able to do this?
You're getting faster. Yeah.
But no, I've been interning in athletic training for a while. That's something I've been doing for a while just because I love to learn. I've been working with the Citrus College athletic trainers for about 3 years already. When I started coming here in Fullerton, and I found out that I needed to do some observation volunteer hours. they took me in. You know, they knew that I was a student there. It's like, oh, cool, you want to be an athletic trainer? Oh, yeah, come on in. You know, will help us out. You know, we'll teach you some stuff. And I think at Citrus, I definitely learned a lot. And currently, right now, I do some volunteer work at Citrus. I do some volunteer at Cal Poly Pomona as well.
This is all athletic training.
Yeah,
work,
all
right?
athletic training. So I just want to get myself some more experience before I enter the program, making sure that I'm doing the proper things, making sure that I come in approaching evaluations and any like emergency injuries or anything like that relate to athletic training in a proper way. You know, making sure that not everything is all textbook.
And are there a certain amount of hours that you have to do before you could kind of transfer that over to your application in athletic training, kind of like with PT?
Yeah.
You do a certain amount of hours and then kind of in different settings and then apply.
It all varies on the program. Some programs require 25. Some programs require like 150 or 200.
Yeah.
So it requires, like, APU doesn't require any observation hours at all, which kind of blew my mind because I have about over 1,700 observation hours.
Oh, wow.
So like, man, ain't this some crap? But actually, you know, even though they didn't look at observation hours, it did provide a lot of experience to show in my resume or my CV now that I'm using. I think I just would have too much stuff going on to put in my resume, so I ended up just creating a CV which is a lot more condensed and but showing everything that you've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, even though I did all these hours, you know, I applied to, for example, I applied to Cal Baptist, I applied to Lenore Ryan in North Carolina, or actually I don't even know where that's at anymore. It's been a while.
I got something at APU. I don't care
Yeah.
about anything else.
Like, it sounded good at first, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah. So so those programs require hours. But I didn't get accepted there. But I didn't get accepted at APU. So I think you do need to show a cover letter and a resume.
I mean, I'm sure even though they don't require it, I'm pretty sure it's something that every school looks at. I mean, if we have you and Jose and you guys, your applications are the same, but you did 1,700 hours and Jose didn't do any, or he did 25, you know, I'm going to take you over Jose because you know, it shows that you're more passionate, or that this is what you want.
Yeah,
you know,
it shows that you have experience too.
Exactly,
You know how to deal with real world experiences. You know, and you know that's something I cherish a lot. I mean, I've interned at so many places. I interned at Cal Poly Pomona. I've interned at Citrus College. I've interned at Cat's Physical Therapy Clinic. I worked with a PT because I wanted to get into rehab science, and I was fortunate enough to also kind of just snoop around in the strength conditioning area because I was also interested in strength conditioning. So it was a performance center place. So I was fortunate to go there to Cat's Physical Therapy Institute in Yorba Linda and work with the PT clinic there, or PT and the strength coach there.
Nice.
So I interned there. I got a stint at Major League Baseball Academy in Compton. I interned there as well. I interned for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So for me, I think internship was a way to kind of get involved in that field on a whole different perspective compared to just dealing in through textbooks, and get my hands dirty and get to work. You know, just experience stuff. You know, learn how they deal in a real life setting, and then learn from like people who are actually in the field as you see them work. You know, it's different when you see pictures in textbooks saying, you know, do a certain technique this way, and then when you look at it in a clinic, you know how to do it, and then they're willing to teach you how to do it. You know, put your hands on these two joints, or put your hands in this area, and then pull some, like if you're testing for knee, or you're testing for ACL, you want to make sure you're getting your hand in the proper spot, make sure you have the good leverage, and then make sure you can test the knee without screwing up or making sure you have the wrong application to doing the evaluation.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that a lot of students lack. I mean, just the fact that you mentioned you did so many internships, and I know you did because I mean, when we were having classes together, I know you were always busy. But the fact that a lot of people here just take the classes, pass the test, know the book inside out, but they wait till the very end, right, senior year, to take that one internship that's gonna get them that job. That's gonna, you know, put everything that they learn into perspective. That one internship, 120 hours that most of them need for the 495 class. When in fact they can be doing like kind of like what you did and kind of just start branching out and see what's available.
Yeah, I never even took 495. I knew that the class was an internship class, and so when I was going to Cat's Physical Therapy, like, oh, no, I should just do this for credit. But for me, it's like, nah, I don't feel like going involved. I honestly just want to learn. I don't want to have any kind of pressure of doing this much extra work. Yeah. For me, it's just all a learning experience. I just want to get just want to get my hands dirty and experience a real life situation. Yeah. I mean, for me, I just love learning. And
do you go to any conferences, whether it's for athletic training or strength conditioning?
Man, I wish. I wanted to go to FWADA since I did miss the combat sport for NSCA earlier. So I want to go to FWADA's annual meeting in San Diego which was this weekend. But for me, it's more about financial limitations, and so I haven't been going. But I mean, that's something I want to do, just because I think that's just a new way to network and learn at the same time. So I think going to conferences is gonna be it's a freaking great idea.
Yeah, the only reason I bring that up is because when I at least get the brochures and the pamphlets to go check it out, I always see who is going to be there giving a seminar or presentations, who's going to be leading like a practical, portion. So I look at the names, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you follow anybody like in your field, any kind of, I guess, institution or just coaches, trainers that you probably follow, whether it's Facebook or I guess just YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, if first of all I look at the title. I mean, if it looks pretty interesting, I'm all for it. I don't want to go to some conference that's like, this doesn't relate to what I want to do, But I do look at certain people who's in it. You look at if you want to look for example, like in the strength conditioning area, I look for Eric Cressy. I think he has some legit stuff going on. I think the way he talks about movement and strength work and stuff like that, it's related to a lot of biomechanics, and that's exactly what I'm interested in. So for me, it's more about what I'm interested in and what kind of people I can follow to make sure that I become a better practitioner.
Right.
So like Dr. Kersey. Dr. Kersey is freaking awesome too. So I read his papers too. But but like Eric Cressy, Mike Boyle is another one of them. I know Dr. Lim mentioned some of them too. I forgot his. Great Cook. Great Cook. I follow him as well.
Great Cook.
Jonda,
Sharman.
Yeah. So if like for example Great Cook, Mike Boyle, Eric Cressy perform. I know they're performing at Perform Better conference here in Long Beach this summer. And when I look at that, I feel like that's something I want to do, just because it relates to what I want to do. But yeah.
And then you started your own Facebook group too, or Facebook page actually, with Torres Performance. Where did that come about, man? That was like a curveball. Like, I know you got all this, athletic training stuff going on, but then you come up with this page that is pretty much going to be talking about, well, I'll just read it from here. Optimize human performance through strength conditioning, mobility, and corrective movement.
Yeah, so for me, I'm a strong believer in applying and integrating strength conditioning with therapeutic exercises. I don't like the whole idea that people just when you rehab, you do a certain movement and it's very low intensity. Especially when we work as an athletic trainer, you're working with athletes traditionally. Athletic trainers have branched out to different areas now, but traditionally you want to work with athletes. That bores them. Bores them to do just leg extensions. Just bores them to do just simple single joint exercises. So they want to integrate. So when I learned the PT clinics, you integrate what you do from therapeutic exercises into strength conditioning in a smooth way. So you can show them that that there's some connection going on, and it's a step-by-step approach to get to back to full capabilities, or your full self. So that's the result for me. It's more along the lines of me reaching out to the people about what I know, what I want to do, and what I've been learning to do. So for me, also, it was a way to kind of hit back at all these freaking terrible Instagrammers and terrible Facebookers that call themselves fitness experts. And when you look at their exercises, they're just applying it so wrong. It's like, do this exercise. It's gonna give you a good butt kicking. It's gonna make you lose fat and all this stuff. And then sooner or later, your back's hurting, and you're like, this wasn't a good idea after all. So I have a lot of friends, and my girlfriend as well. She follows people like big booty workout and
That's all I
stuff
gotta
like
say,
that.
big booty.
And then you got some hot girls on Instagram showing her
Yeah.
big butt, saying, "Oh, do these exercises. It does well, you know. Pop your booty while you're doing a squat, you know."
Pop
You know,
it.
so that just when I started looking at it, it just fumes me. It's like, you know, I spent 7 years trying to attain my undergrad, and I spent 4 years of those 7 years getting in kinesiology, putting in the work to make sure that I become the best practitioner I can possibly be, to make sure that I'm developing a healthy world, you know, through movement and exercise. When I see people like that just butcher exercise, butcher the concept of exercise and movement, it just pisses me off. And then, you know, you have all these nutrition people, you know, just coming out with this BS, just BS approach. You know, buy this supplement, it'll make you jacked.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, no, man. It's like, just stick to your principles. Just stick to your proteins, carbs, fats. You know, and you know, just make sure you're eating the proper amounts and stuff like that. Make sure you're following. You know, it goes back to like high school when you learn in health. You know, just eat properly. Eat your vegetables. You know, just eat your meats. Eat your the good stuff. Don't stick to McDonald's. Don't stick to Burger King or In-N-Out. You know, as good as it sounds, it's good to indulge in it once in a while when you go out with friends and stuff like that. But don't get it to like a weekly ritual or something like that. You know,
people just look for like this ultimate recipe. You know, that's what people want. Like this, it's very simple. It's like just a lot of things in life are not very complex. They're basic and they're simple.
Yeah.
But people just want something handed to them, like do this, like follow these steps and this will work for you, and then we print 20 of them and then we give them to 20 different people. It's going to work the same for this. No, it's not like that. Just keep it simple. Everybody reacts different to every stimulus. Just find what works for you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have a lot of trouble understanding, and they, like I said, just want like some kind of recipe or a step-to-step thing or a step-to-step kind of list or something to follow to get them to lose weight or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot of people have hard time understanding.
Yeah, and there's some people who actually do need help, and for me, this is a way to reach out to the people, just to show that, don't go to just anyone. Mm-hmm. Don't go to just anyone just because they're jacked. Don't go to anyone just because, they got what you want. Go to a professional who knows what they're doing, who knows how to talk to you in the most correct form. Don't just be careful who you choose to go to.
Especially in this field, I think there's a lot of incredible trainers, incredible practitioners in general in the strength and conditioning or fitness world. It's so many that, just you look jacked, so you have that appearance, but do you really know what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, you're walking around like a 65-year-old man with a bunch of muscles. Like, I don't think that's a good thing. But when I worked as a personal trainer at a gym in I won't name the place, but a gym in Montclair, the personal trainers there, there's a lady there, a personal trainer lady there who just could not teach her client how to deadlift. I mean, you see her back rounding like it was a mountain, man. If I would have put a ball on her back, that thing will roll really quick. like and I was training my own guy, and I look at that, and the way she had her verbal cues, you can tell that she didn't have the experience or the knowledge on on the mechanics on how to execute a proper deadlift. You're just honestly she's executing a deadlift, but she's executing it in the wrong way. It's a bad form, and I didn't tell her anything. I mean, I think the personal training field is very there's a lot of ego going on. Uh-huh. If you mention something, they'll be like, oh, no, you don't know anything, or I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn from you. He's like, I like the way I do things.
And there's so many loopholes to get away with it, right?
So. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I feel bad for the client, but it is what it is. I just continue training my own guy, and I felt kind of bad. It's probably something I probably should have said something when we were alone.
Yeah.
But
after.
I don't know. I just didn't want to start any kind of problems.
Yeah. So what can we expect from your page?
A lot of it's going to come about movement. I actually posted one thing. Well, actually, I didn't post it posted on my personal account. But a lot of it is just making people aware of what they do. One of them was about keeping your head down. Texting neck. I think that's the proper term.
Oh yeah, all these texters, huh?
Yeah. So a lot of texters, or when you got on your laptop, you crank your neck down, and that shows how much force is applied to your neck when you constantly keep it cranked down. I think one of the ultimate ones that it shows on the picture was if you keep your head tilted down 60 degrees, you loaded by 60 pounds of force. And so the thing that the practical application, I actually got that from Barbell Shrugged, listening to podcasts, and I was like, perfect. You know, I love this. I love analogies. This is about teaching the world. You know, freaking stop texting.
Yeah.
So you know the thought process I can teach, you know, a lot of people is, you know, try and hang in a string with a bunch of weights that weigh 60 pounds on your neck, and try to hang that for an amount of time that you text. Like, that's how your body feels. Like, if you don't like it, it's like, you know, pick your head up. Yeah. You know, stop texting, or text a certain way. You know, for me, the way I started getting on my computer is I lower the chair down so I make sure I'm facing the screen eye level. You know, I'm not looking down because I like my chairs pretty high, so I'm cranking my neck down. So when I thought about it, I was like, you know, this is true. Like, my neck does hurt after a while, and after I do all this studying and and spend my time on the computer programming for hours, stuff like that, you know, it hurts. You know, so I just lowered my chair down, and I started keeping the computer at eye level, and that's how I do things, to make sure that everything's, you know, optimal for my life. And that's the way people can apply that knowledge, the way I share it, into their daily lives. You know, simple as keeping your head up.
There's a really good biofeedback that Dr. Lin mentioned. He got this from Exos, I think. So just for overall posture, more than anything, just keeping your posture nice, straight, vertical, not having that any kind of lordotic state. So it's basically standing up as straight as possible, having somebody put 2 pieces of tape from your upper back so all the way down to your lower back around your glutes, and just have it tape 2 tapes when you're standing nice and tall, so that that's like a little cue. Every time you come down around your back, the tape is gonna pull on you. Like, you know, you're not in a good position. You know, stand up taller. Or like when you go and you text, it's pulling, the tape's pulling on me. Let me stand up a little taller. You know. So I think that was great biofeedback, and that's something that I think a lot of people can use. Yeah. Just to see how their form is, how they're moving throughout the day. Yeah, and that's what we did at Citrus. At Citrus, we get some tape. We put it for people who have rounded scapulas. And go and they round them. We put some tape between their scaps at the bottom part of the scap, so that way they can learn how to engage their lower fibers of the traps, and that way they can keep a nice the back a little more have a good posture, and then keep their scaps from not rounding forward. So I mean, these are all great little cues that I think people should be aware of. Like, it doesn't cost you any money, you know. Just have somebody tape you. But then they want to go to chiropractors and pay a lot of money. Like, a lot of things can be fixed by the way we move, you know, and it's very simple. Just move correctly. I mean, maybe for us, I don't want to say it's simple. Maybe for us, because we know. But a lot of injuries just come from poor movement and poor sustained patterns, you know, that just lead to tightness and imbalance between the anterior posterior muscle groups, and that leads to injuries when you go and you want to do something, you go on a hike or whatever, you know, pull something or whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. But
that's cool, man. You have a lot of good information. I can't believe all these schools turned you down.
You know, you're on a podcast. Really?
Well, too late now, you know. I already got accepted to a program. They could have heard all this stuff.
They're lost. So what are some goals for you in general? I mean, what do you have going on? I mean, you have the Facebook page, but what else do you have planned for the rest of the year, I guess?
So right now I'm finishing my prereqs at Citrus College. I'm taking physiology. For some reason, man, this is my 3rd time going around it. I just need to get my crap straight. So I'm gonna take physiology for the 3rd time, and getting that done. And then I'm planning on taking my CSUs and actually obtaining it, so I can have some kind of title after my undergrad, because I don't want to leave my undergrad with just an undergrad degree. You know, I don't want to be just a kinesiology major. I want to be kinesiology major with a strength conditioning certification. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm studying for the CSCS, and that way when I go into the APU, I have some kind of title, so I can, you know, personal train people on the side, and I have that credibility to show for that, you know, that I know my stuff. Yeah. And then just do my master's and become an athletic trainer, so I can become certified. From there, after that, I kind of do more work on in the field, and then from there, I want to earn my PhD in rehabilitation science, and or movement science, along those lines. I think for me, I just want to become a researcher and just move the field forward. That's my ultimate goal, is to make a difference.
Yeah.
Cool. So where can people find you besides the Facebook
Torres Performance, right?
Do you have a Instagram or Twitter, Pinterest? What else is there?
You got MySpace?
MySpace.
Not for now. It's just on Facebook, just Torres Performance. Yeah. I usually don't accept people on my personal Instagram or Facebook.
Neither do I.
unless I know you.
Change my name.
But yeah, that's normally where you can find me. I'm still debating if I should even do an Instagram with Torrance Performance, but that's still. I'll see how this Facebook thing goes out first.
Yeah.
I'm not. For me, I've actually been a little more on Facebook since I actually got this page going. But
you don't want people to round their necks to look at their Instagram. Or
yeah, so it's like a perfect way to teach you guys not to round your necks while I'm teaching you to round your necks.
No Instagram. Cool. All right, well, I think we had a pretty good episode with you. Appreciate you coming down, man. I know you're busy, man. You have a lot going on, but
yeah, I mean, I'd rather be busy than not busy.
Yeah,
I don't know, live with a purpose.
Word, yeah. So good to have you back here at Cal State Fullerton because it's been a year, right?
Yeah, it's been a year, and there's so many changes, man. Like the library just completely changes. It's 360 to me. But yeah, it's really cool to see the commencement banners back up, and it kind of brings me back to my old days and just walking around here as an undergrad.
Yeah.
Got excited to graduate. I'm seeing how people now graduate like you guys, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm not excited to graduate.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I'm not excited at all.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go to my ceremony. Just give me my piece of paper. I'm good. I still have 3 more years to go.
yeah. So, but yeah. Before I actually leave, I want to do some recommendations for anyone who's actually in this program. Is just count your blessings. Know that you're here in good hands. You got great professors. You're in, I believe, and you're in one of the top exercise science / kinesiology programs in the nation, honestly. I mean, you got like Dr. Kersey, who's a Hall of Famer. You got Dr. Thing's freaking awesome. You got Dr. Galpin, Dr. Brown, who are legit strength conditioning professors.
Right.
I mean, they're doing some amazing things. And then you got renowned, really great sports psychologists like Dr. Statler, and just the professors here, they're just freaking amazing. They're amazing. And as a student here, you want to make sure that you're getting to know them really well. Make sure you're kicking ass. Make sure you're doing your coursework.
Great resources.
That way, when you come out here, you're top notch. And at the same time, you want to make sure you network them pretty well. You want to make sure that because since they're really well known, they're going to be a huge name to your letter of recommendations in case you go somewhere else. Like I said, kinesiology is one of those. I believe that kinesiology is one of those majors that you can't just stop as an undergrad. If you want to do something with your life, you got to go past an undergrad.
You have to.
And if you're screwing it up with a C average, just like I did, you got to work your butt off a little harder to make sure that you can impress on people. Because C average coming out of here is just going to be just an average Joe. You're not gonna be worth anything, to tell you the truth, unless you do something with your life in a tremendous way. Yeah. At the same time, make sure you're interning a lot. Like I said, you want to get your hands dirty, you want to get your hands in, you want to make sure you network with other professionals. Because one thing I am learning about this field, and I'm pretty sure this becoming cliches, it's about who you know. It's not just about what you know, it's about who you know. And knowing the stuff that you do in school is going to take you so far, but getting people to vouch for you is going to take you a lot further. Yeah. So make sure you're interning, make sure you're proving yourself every single day, to someone, That way you show that you're for reals. You're not going to just come here and just screw around.
You're not doing it for class credit.
Yeah, exactly.
For a reason.
That kind of mentality is high school mentality. Right?
Yeah.
Just going in just to pass. That's just high school. I think it's time to. At this point in life, everything's so competitive. You just got to step up.
Yeah, everything is.
So. Awesome. That's a good way to wrap the show. Once again, thank you for your time, man. Best of luck in your new.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
Master's program. Yeah.
I'm so happy for you, dude. So keep me updated. We'll follow you on Torres Performance. Thanks again, you guys, for listening. Until next time, we're out of here.